All right, wrestling fans, welcome back to the We Can't Wrestle podcast as we are running down the worst angles, or our personal top 10 worst angles of all time. And I think it's Aaron's turn.
Yes.
Yeah. Mine, and it really pained me to put this on here because it involves two of my favorite performers of all time, and it is Kurt Hennig joins the Four Horsemen.
Good one.
Okay.
And the reason is not for the concept of the angle itself. It was how it was
Executed.
Because this angle should have been 6 months of an angle, but they did it in like a month.
Mm-hmm.
And like Hennig joins the Horsemen, and then by the pay-per-view, he's in the NWO now.
Right.
And it had legs, and you could have told a fucking compelling story in this whole thing, but they rushed it. And by the end of it, like Kurt, like in the feud, like Kurt cuts up Flair's robe, but then he's just folding it up and giving it to Hulk Hogan. So now it's not even Kurt Hennig's angle anymore. It becomes Hogan's angle.
Right. It went back to Hogan versus Flair.
Yeah. That is exactly what I was going to say. Was the reason this angle, to me, I think you're right, and that's what I was going to intercede with, was it became not about Hennig and Flair, but it became about
storyline there.
Yeah, but it became about Hogan, just consistently in WCW for whatever reason. He essentially, through the 80s, Hogan and Flair ran neck and neck. I mean, Hogan was a bigger pop celebrity and et cetera, but as far as wrestling goes, Hogan and Flair ran neck and neck for who's the biggest star of the 80s. And really, once Hogan got to WCW in the 90s, and I hate to hate a lot on Hogan because I do like Hulk Hogan, but he made it about settling old scores and making sure he came out as the guy at the end of history that was the number one guy ever.
And instead, like this angle, like I said, it had legs, and it could have, instead of making Kurt Hennig a major heel that they could have had in their company, by the time it was done, he was just another guy standing in the ring, leaning on the ropes, while Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan stroked each other off. Like Kurt could have, like, this might be out of left field or whatever. Like people talk about, like when Brett went to WCW and it was just they bungled it, which they did. They bungled getting Kurt Hennig too.
Oh, for sure.
They got Kurt, and then Kurt was just like another guy, like on their roster after like 3 months.
The only thing that helped Kurt was when Rick Rude came in, and those two were kind of playing off each other. But
they're like, like I'm not knocking Kurt Hennig.
No, not at all.
And like when Kurt and Reed were like in the NWO, they were cool together and shit. But Kurt could have been so much more, and they had this fucking angle that it could have been a 6-month fucking angle, and they just fucked it up because Hogan got his fucking hands on it. Can't tell me he didn't, and he got Bischoff's ear on it. Because I doubt when they started the angle, they were like, "Oh, this is going to be we're just going to wham bam, thank you, ma'am" on this thing. It had so much fucking potential.
It did.
They just fucked it all up.
You know what angles like this prove in WCW in the 90s?
What?
Hulk Hogan and Dusty Rhodes had more in common than they would ever admit.
Oh yeah.
Because Dusty Rhodes used to do this shit. There would be an angle that was hot in Mid-Atlantic or in the NWA in the mid 80s, and Dusty would attach himself to it.
Yep.
Out of nowhere, like the Jimmy Garvin. Go ahead, Aaron.
I was just saying, he put himself into the Garvin Flair feud.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say. He put himself into the Garvin. Like, Dusty and Hogan are probably the two biggest politickers ever. I love them both, as performers or whatever, but from a politics standpoint, goddamn.
I love Dusty, and I think the good thing about Dusty was at least he was doing it with you with a smile, and would be like, "Don't worry, we're gonna fix it. We'll make it good for you.
Don't worry,
too.
baby. It'll be all right in the end.
We'll
baby.
fix it." But Hogan was just like, "Nope, I got creative control. Fuck you." You know what I mean?
It doesn't work for me, brother.
It doesn't work for me, brother.
So I totally agree with you on that, Aaron.
I do
total
too.
missed opportunity.
I agree with me too.
Archie, what's next on your list?
Well, if you guys didn't know what the Beatdown Clan was, then I doubt you're going to know about this shitty storyline.
Teach us, brother. Teach us.
TNA, Claire Lynch.
Oh yeah, I know about. Claire
I know
Lynch.
that.
Okay. They brought her
like some
in.
meth head that AJ fucked, right?
Yeah, exactly. And had that been where they went with the storyline, it would have been so much better than the way they went. But you bring this woman in, like Aaron said, she looks like a meth head. And the feel-good storyline is AJ and Dixie nursed her back to health to be a good mother to her children because she was on drugs. But then, AJ must have slept with her. No, AJ never touched her. But then, AJ did touch me. And then, no, he didn't. What? And this is all going on while Aces and Eights is involved. Aces and Eights is somewhere in the company having a great storyline, but this is what you're wasting AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, and Kazarian on.
Now, a question I have is, was this a Vince Russo story?
No. This was a Dixie Carter produced story. She wanted AJ Styles to not be so wholesome because he was that good Christian boy from Mississippi and to be a little more rough around the edges. But he came out like the picture of health at the end of it all. He was the good guy. Mm-hmm. But then what drove him over the edge was Dixie finally turned on him too. You know what I mean?
Well, this is one of those things that over the years, I'm a bad wrestling fan when it comes to Impact because I haven't watched it intently.
Like you didn't miss much. You didn't miss much.
I know, but I remember seeing some of this, and didn't they even get Serge, her husband, involved in it?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. There is a meme that I die laughing from every Christmas. It's a picture of the Grinch, and it says, maybe the Grinch would have been a better person if he didn't have an asshole commentating what kind of an asshole he was.
Yeah.
Through the whole show.
Yes, it's maybe the Grinch would have been a nicer guy if he didn't constantly have some guy calling him a piece of shit. Yes, walking around singing about what a piece of shit he is.
Maybe this storyline would have went better if we didn't call AJ a homewrecker, a molester. You know what I mean? And actually let him do something. And meanwhile, AJ Styles is just sitting there going, I didn't do anything. I was at home with my wife. I have children. I didn't do anything. Which I'm gonna say it like it is. AJ Styles in TNA was a bad actor.
Yeah.
He's not that much better in WWE, but at least he's grown. But in TNA, he was just like, I'm just a Southern boy. And it was like, okay, we get it. We get it, but what else are you?
I can definitely attest to that being on a top 10 because it was pretty bad, what I remember of it. Now, the next one I want to bring up, probably the death of a territory. This angle probably caused the death of a territory. Lance Von Erich.
What were they thinking?
Everybody knew he wasn't a Von Erich.
Yep.
Didn't they try to? They projected him as
cousin.
They portrayed him as a cousin.
Yes,
but he was like a high school football star or whatever
in that town. Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest. Based on the deaths of his sons and stuff, even over Paul Heyman, at the end of the day, Fritz might come out as like the shittiest human being as a promoter, just capitalizing on the deaths of his sons and such. But
I don't know if it's completely true, okay? But people have said it. Supposedly, Fritz Von Erich sold tickets to David Von Erich's funeral.
I have heard that as well.
Oh God, I've never heard that one before. Wow.
Yeah, I have heard that as well. And he most definitely used the death of each of his sons as a way to pack in the reunion arena or
Right.
Texas
Memorial
Stadium.
show.
Yeah,
Right.
but yeah, the Lance Von Erich thing, well, that shit the bed, buddy.
I mean, like what? Like one of the promoters went up to him, like, Fritz, you're running out of sons. One went to the WWF, one died, and you only got one left. What
Only one died? They all.
No. But I mean, when they brought Lance in, it was like, all right, 2 died. You got one in WWF. He doesn't want to come back, but he's on the verge of dying. What are we gonna do here?
Let me tell you something, Mercer.
Give me 1 minute.
Let's make a cousin, Mercer. By the grace of God, we'll have a.
Yep.
That's the other thing.
The other one's got fucking parts falling off of him.
Right.
You gotta do something.
He walks outside into a crowded parking lot. Anybody want to be a Von Erich? Sure.
But yeah, definitely.
Do you got both your feet?
Hold on, let me check. Yeah, I do.
Are you not? Are you not on the stuff? No, sir.
You will be.
Yeah, you're a Von Erich.
By the end of this whole thing, not only the wrestling world, but the one city that had always supported the Von Erichs turned on them. You know, it was just like, this is horse shit. And,
the Freebirds became the face in that territory.
Yeah.
Michael Hayes was like, "Why are they cheering for us? What's going on?"
But yeah, I mean,
like Gary Hart said that he was talking to people in line, and they were like, "The Von Erichs are liars."
Mm-hmm.
They're lying, and Gary Hart, I think, like, you know, in his time, kind of, you know, how do I want to say it? Embellished some things or whatever. But the time that I saw, like, what I watched with Gary Hart talking about that, I don't think he was lying about that.
No, and if you're talking about the pro wrestling business, which is predicated on lying to people, and your fans are like, they're a bunch of liars. You know, it's pretty bad. Before we wrap up the Lance Von Erich conversation, which, like I said, I mean, to be perfectly honest, you can't argue with the fact that it was probably the death of a territory, literally a business.
No, without a doubt.
A funny line from the Wikipedia page of Lance Von Erich that I found amusing. Because the Von Erich surname was a registered trademark, Von wrestled under the ring name Fabulous Lance after leaving World Class. It sounds like a porn star.
Yeah. And now appearing
Fabulous Lance.
Now,
it's like Rod Rageous.
Yeah.
He became a what was that fucking thing that Buff Bagwell did? Like the
gigolo.
The gigolo. Yeah.
He was on that Cowboys R Us thing or whatever.
Now, Nate, Aaron, do you guys watch MLW at all?
No.
Not since it rebooted, no.
Okay. About 9 months ago, before the pandemic started.
Are you gonna tell me Fabulous Lance showed up?
No. It's part of it. The Von Erichs, David Von Erich's sons.
Oh yeah, I was watching then. Yeah, I was watching.
And they were great. They're the tag champions, and they got into a feud with a guy named Tom Lawler, who's an ex-MMA guy.
Love Tom Lawler.
Tom Lawler is doing an exhibition in the ring, and he's like, "We're gonna bring out somebody just to prove that I could beat the Von Erichs. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the son of Lance Von Erich." And this little guy comes out with curly blonde hair, no shoes on, and black tights, and he jumps in the ring, and Tom Lawler destroys him. And the whole crowd is just laughing because he brought up the fact of Lance Von Erich.
Yeah,
and it's like, and even I'm sitting there going, "Wow, really? 30 years later, we're going to do this?"
No time like the present.
So,
Aaron, you're next.
I'm next. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll ask you this, guys. I have 2 WCW and 3 WWE. You guys want a WCW or a WWE?
Go with a WWE.
Yeah.
WWE. Eddie's dead. Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio Jr.
Number one on my list.
It's not on my list, but I hate it.
I inducted this angle into our Hall of Shame for a reason. This is the worst angle, the most shitty, pointless. It was the worst way to get heat. It was terrible, and I'm not at all blaming the workers. They're doing what they're told to do because I love Ray and I love Randy. This thing, I'm getting passionate here, but that's why it's number one.
I knew you were going to have it on your list, Nate, but I really felt passionate about it too, and that's why I put it on. Because there's times where we make lists, and I'm like, somebody might put this on there, so I don't do it. So I'm gonna step out because I kind of buffaloed the Black Scorpion thing. So I'm gonna let Nate take the lead on this.
You have one of the greatest workers of all time. You have, and there is nothing wrong with taking Eddie's passing. This is pro wrestling, okay?
Right.
There is nothing wrong with taking Eddie's passing, just like they did with Kerry Von Erich. And we're going back to the world class. When David Von Erich passed, it was supposed to be David's world championship match against Ric Flair. David passes. That's unforeseeable.
Right.
So you give the match to Kerry, and you watch that in the arena with Flair and Von Erich, and it's great. It's great. It's great television, and it's great pro wrestling.
Moment.
Yes.
It's a feel-good moment.
And this is exactly what Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton could have been.
Nope.
Instead, yeah, exactly. Instead of invoking the name of Eddie by saying Rey Mysterio is dedicating this match to Eddie Guerrero, boom, that's it. And then let Randy be a heel against Rey and let him do the. You literally, not months after the man's passing, have Randy come out and say he's in hell.
And his lowrider.
Yeah. And it's one of the most pathetic things a wrestling company has ever done for heat. Ever. Pathetic. Yeah. It's pathetic.
Like, this is going to be like super random. But I was just watching, like, on YouTube, I was just watching, like, a bunch of just, like, Nate, I told you I was watching the Sam Munchnick thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Something popped up, and it was, like, a local news thing that Jim Cornette did, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, oh, the life of Jim Cornette. And, like, he shows up, and there's parts where he's, like, kayfabing it or whatever. But they asked him about Magnum TA, all right? And this was like not right after, but Magnum had his accident, and where he was just with Dusty,
Mm-hmm.
And Jim Cornette in that segment of that news thing goes, you know what? In professional wrestling, we all have people that we like, we have people we dislike, and in the ring, I didn't like Magnum TA, but you never want to see that happen to somebody else.
Right.
And that's what Jim said. He didn't say, oh, like, he didn't go, I'm glad that happened to that guy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But he also didn't. He did what you should do. He acknowledged the tragedy, but he didn't abandon his gimmick. He said, I don't like the guy, but you don't want to see that happen to anybody.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I know that was kind of like out of left field. It's kind of different. But to me, it might be the most hideous thing the WWF ever did.
I agree.
And, it's not the only time that they did it. I mean, okay, they did it with Orton. A little while later, Ray and Batista are a tag team, and then they're in a match together, and Ray costs Batista the match. Batista goes to beat the crap out of Ray, and Ray says, come on, Dave, remember Eddie. And Batista says, Eddie's dead, and you are too when I get done with you. And I'm like, Like, so they just want to shit all over Eddie Guerrero? I mean, they,
Yeah.
you know, I know. I'll be honest with you. Rey Mysterio getting the world title because Eddie Guerrero passed away, I always felt was a cheap move on their part as well. And they could have, you know, gotten the belt on Rey many other ways. But the whole Orton ordeal was really bad. And I can't imagine that Randy was gung ho for it and was like, yeah, I want to say this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm saying this. Yeah, we're going all out. No, I think Randy should have objected a little more, but you know, he wouldn't be where he is today if he did.
But yeah, Darren, I'm in total agreement on this one.
All right.
Oof.
Shouldn't say I'm happy about it, but I'm glad we agree on something. And to put it in a modern perspective, guys, if you're not a like old school wrestling fan, it's the equivalent of when they did the fucking bullshit with Reed.
Yeah. With Paige and Charlotte. Yeah, that's
like the four things that I said you shouldn't talk about. Or make an angle off of. That's one of them. Somebody dying is.
Yeah, there's no reason if you're not gonna be praising them or putting them over after they pass away, then don't mention them.
Yeah. Total crap. Total crap. Archie?
Next on my list is one that I kind of debated putting on there, but it really was boring and crappy and did nothing for the feud. And I mean, the fans in attendance went dead silent when they did it. Lashley versus Sami Zayn, aka Lashley Sisters.
Oh, well, that's actually, if you look on the internet, that's actually regarded as one of the worst wrestling angles of the past 10 years.
Right. And it didn't just stop at Lashley Sisters. That feud went on for like a month and a half. And I still don't like Sami Zayn to this day, but for other reasons. He's just a really bad heel. I think he should only be a face. But that was a really bad switch of roles. Bobby should have been the heel there and the aggressor, and Sami should have been the face there.
I don't know what it is.
How?
I don't know what that is.
You never saw it? Wow.
He never saw it.
You missed out on crap.
You missed out on crap.
It was bad. The whole arena was dead silent. The announcers didn't say a word. I mean, for Jerry Lawler not to crack a joke, you know that it's a bad storyline.
Oh, it's terrible.
Did the sisters not have big titties?
It was three men dressed up as women, and none of them were black. And Bobby Lashley is an African American.
Well, I know who Bobby Lashley is.
No. I'm saying just in case the people at home don't. It was three guys dressed up as women, and I think one was Hispanic, one was white, and one was maybe black. I don't remember. One was a heavy-set guy and two skinny guys, and they really didn't even say anything. It was just Sami Zayn. So you're Bobby Lashley's sisters? Uh-huh. Okay. And what was it like growing up with Bobby? Oh, that's really great. It just carried on, and the Raw GM has now chimed in to talk about what's going on.
Which is another shitty angle.
Yes.
Well, all right. Spoiler. That was me trying to go. Because that was going to be my next one on my list.
Okay. Go right ahead. Because that's one on my list as well.
The anonymous.
I'm sorry I couldn't elaborate more on Bobby Lashley's sisters because I have
all.
no idea what
You're
that
fine.
is.
You're fine. The less said about it is fine.
The anonymous Raw general manager.
They didn't turn out to be Hornswoggle?
Yes.
Who fucking cares?
It had so much potential.
I guess. I mean, I at this point we had already gone past general managers, or like we'd already gone past like the president of the company or the CEO of a company being the heel authority figure. Then we moved into general managers. Then we moved into what? Fucking celebrities, like Seth Green gets to be the general manager
and wrestle.
The only people that there's three people that did a good job at being more than just like a like legitimate like boss of a company. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like Jack Tunney worked as president.
Right.
Okay. Jim Crockett worked as being the president of the NWA. And then once you get out of that, there's only like 3 people that worked.
Mr. McMahon.
Mr. McMahon worked. Okay. And I know I'm going to get a little bit of heat for saying this, but Eric Bischoff, for everything anybody wants to say about him,
he was
hell of a goddamn performer.
Yeah.
Fucking great performer. And did a fantastic job when he was in WCW. And then when they did the commissioner thing, Foley.
I'd even say
that was
Gorilla. Gorilla was good as acting president.
Gorilla was good too. But Gorilla was almost like the Tunney thing where he was just
and I'll even add to that list. Bill Watson, Mid-South.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Watson's good.
But see, Bill was different. I shouldn't say he was different because I said Crockett was a president or whatever. But I'm talking like, yeah, okay, I'll give you Bill.
Mm-hmm. But this anonymous Raw general manager thing was, I mean,
trash.
Yeah, it was trash. I mean, the only thing it did, to be honest, the only thing the anonymous Raw general manager did was add heat to Michael Cole's heel character.
Yep. and
the anonymous. Go ahead, Archie. Sorry. No, Archie, go ahead.
If it would have ended up being Michael Cole as the anonymous GM, I would have been fine with it. See, if it would have been Cole hiding behind a computer all that time, or something, it would have been fine. But we never got an ending. And then when they revealed it as Hornswoggle, it was just like, fuck you. We don't want to reveal who it was really supposed to be.
For one thing, it should have been a guy named Mark.
Why? Why?
Because he was a Mark. The other thing is, too, it was lazy fucking booking.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh, this angle sucks.
Yep.
I hated when it would interrupt a match. Like there'd be a great match going on, and the Raw general manager says that this match sucks, and I'm thinking, wow, that's totally what Vince probably said on the mic in their head. Yeah,
it was just so bad. I don't.
It really was.
And I, other than, again, like I said, other than to use your authority figure for your entire show, and his entire goal is to heat up your heel commentator. You know what I mean? Right. Like, it's just, and I don't have as much hate for Michael Cole as a lot of people do. I think that when he, first of all, to be honest, when he is allowed to be off the chain of Vince McMahon yelling in his ear, he is a really good play-by-play guy. And all you have to do to prove that is to watch those WWE UK pay-per-views from a couple of years ago.
Right.
Has there been a play-by-play guy that's had a longer run now than Michael in the history of that company?
No. But Lawler. I think Lawler might be the only,
Yeah, but his heel character was fine. It was what it was.
Right.
But to use your authority figure over your entire show to heat up that, essentially that's the entire purpose of that gimmick, is to heat up Michael Cole.
Right.
And to not, and like Aaron said, to be a lazy booker.
Right.
The other thing that I feel bad about Michael Cole for is, like, say for like 10 years, okay, 10 years, every single fucking night of your life, you get to go home with Jennifer Aniston. Okay? 10 years. You're just getting it on with Jennifer Aniston every fucking night. And then, out of nowhere, Jen's gone. She ain't around no more. And hello, Janine Garofalo. I'm like, damn it. I mean, she's adequate, but she's not really Jennifer Aniston. That's what happened to Michael Cole. For like 10 years, you got Jim Ross, and then all of a sudden, Michael Cole shows up. And you're like, this isn't what I fucking signed up for.
This is how you can tell this show is hosted by guys that grew up in the 90s.
Yep.
Jennifer Aniston, Janine
Garofalo, right.
Just saying. Is that a bad analogy? I don't think it's a bad analogy.
No, it's not. It's not. All right, Aaron, you're up. You're up next.
You're up,
All right. WCW or WWF?
WWF.
WWF. We're going to go with The Undertaker versus the Dudley Boys.
Oh.
Or as we call them, the Dudley.
The Dudley. This thing made no fucking sense.
It really didn't. It really didn't.
Like and the payoff is fucking Paul Bearer getting dumped into his fucking like his concrete tomb or whatever
for no reason.
And it made and from everything I understand, it was a Paul Heyman angle. I just don't understand it.
No.
And the reason I put it on my list is I want one of you guys to explain it.
There is no explaining this. This was we have nothing for The Undertaker or the Dudley Boys to be doing right now. And Paul Heyman was... Now, see, if I would have been booking that feud, when Paul Heyman went after The Undertaker, I would have mentioned the backstory that they have, their time in WCW together. You know what I mean? You don't got to mention it by name. Oh, we were in WCW, but hey, I used to manage you. I know how you live and breathe. You're not a dead man. You're this, you're that, you're this. And then go from there. And then when he's finally getting to beat the crap out of Paul Heyman, then you introduce the Dudleys. But the Dudleys just came out of left field and were like, no, we used to be in ECW, so we get to beat you up. You know, it was like, okay, now what?
And to that, Aaron, what I will say is the only way you're ever going to find out why this happened is if we can someday, land Paulie on Reliving the Extreme.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna have.
You might be better off getting him to explain if he ever paid all the wrestlers from ECW.
Actually, you know what? I would expect that if I sent a message to Paul Heyman, he would respond, and he would tell us he was going to be on the show, and then he would never show up.
Right. Oh, you mean that was today?
The only Paulie we're gonna get on the Reliving the Extreme is Paulie. We might be able to get Paulie Shore.
Hey, buddy.
Or Paulie Poundstone.
Wow, your 90s reference.
Poundstone. God damn, this is a 90s show. She was only relevant for like 6 months in the 90s.
She was a big broad, though. Sturdily built like a house.
And she liked to wear blazers with big shoulder pads.
Yeah.
She screamed the 90s.
Yeah. Or NPR. But
no, it was a bad
like the angle. The angle itself is just stupid, and it made no sense. And like Paul's like, like when they did that shit at the Bash, it's like, why did Taker even pull the lever? Like I don't understand.
Well, I've
never seen an entire angle where I was just like, I don't understand.
See, this is the part I understood.
Anybody's actions in the entire thing.
This is the ending is what I understood. This is the only part I think I understood. Correct me if I'm wrong or if you don't feel this the way it was supposed to go. The Undertaker felt that Paul Bearer was like a weak link, and if somebody got the Paul Bearer, they were automatically getting to the Undertaker. So by him killing off the Paul Bearer character for the time being, he no longer had any weak spots to be hit from. So that's why he says, Paul, I know what I have to do. And then he pulls the lever.
So he said, Paulie or Paul Bearer, you are the weakest link.
Right.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Welcome to Trolley Tower or whatever you call it.
We're going to rework the name because Aaron just can't get over the name.
But no, I like the whole thing just lost me. And I know I kind of ramble a little bit about it.
It lost everybody. It lost everybody.
Like,
trust me.
It's one of the most confusing, convoluted. I have no fucking idea what's going on in this angles that I've ever seen the WWF or WWE do.
Agreed.
Make no sense to me.
Agreed.
Like, it's not a terrible angle. It's a
confusing. It's confounding.
Right.
And I just have after I watched it, and I watched the whole thing play out, I told myself, I have no fucking idea what just happened here. Like, I'm not mad.
Right. You need
but
answers.
I'm not glad.
You need answers.
I have no fucking idea what just happened.
I can actually sum it up for you. It's the most befuddling WWE angle ever. It's befuddling. To use a word that Paul Heyman would probably even use. This, sir, will befuddle everyone.
It's like when you walk into like a public restroom and there's like shit on the wall and the plunger is in the toilet upside down.
And somebody wrote on the
like
wall
the handle
in Sharpie.
sticking up.
Sorry.
Sorry. What happened? Like how did we come to this?
What combination of Taco Bell and Buffalo Wild Wings did you eat?
Arby's did we ingest to come to this?
Now hold on. All right, the toilet is overflowing. You put the plunger in the wrong way and then proceed to wipe your ass with your hand. Yeah, oh no! I go to the wall.
Oh no! I can't believe I did that.
Yeah,
sorry.
This is befuddling. God, I love this show.
The thing I have trouble with angles like that, like Aaron was just saying, is I think 6 months later, The Undertaker teamed with the Dudley Boys.
Yeah.
So you went through that whole bullshit
whatever
to be best friends.
Okay, let's 360 it. This, to me, is the Black Scorpion angle of the WWE.
Right.
Like, they went into it and they said, hey, we have this great idea. Let's have Paul Heyman have this super fucking power or this super secret over the Undertaker, and we're going to involve the Dudley Boys. And then they get to the end of it and they're like, what's the super secret with the Dudley Boys? I don't fucking know.
I have no idea.
I just know we're going to put Paul Bearer in concrete.
Right. Paul Bear's sitting there like, I'm getting paid, right? Yeah. Okay, no problem. Do it, guys.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
like, the only thing we're missing is Ole.
Ole's voice comes on over the loudspeaker. Do it, Undertaker. Do it, Undertaker. Kill him.
Archie.
And then Paul Bearer was back a year later. That was
yeah.
Yeah, and Edge threw him in a deep freeze and ran him over with a truck. Like, after they put Paul Bearer in the concrete, they were just like, yeah, that was funny. Let's figure out different ways to kill Paul Bearer.
Let's make Paul Bearer the Kenny of WWE.
Yeah.
Archie, you're next.
Yeah, we can't kill him anymore.
Right.
Figure out what we're gonna do with fucking William Moody now. Jesus Christ.
My number 3 on my list. Drunken Scott Hall in WCW.
Kind of to the same
as just like with Hawk.
Yeah.
But it was worse because he was actually wrestling and Hawk wasn't really wrestling at the time. They let Hall get into the ring with a drink. He threw up on a few people. Kevin Nash even tried to get involved. And then he left TV and then ended up in the mental institution with Ric Flair.
Yeah. It was all
back. It all comes back to the loony bin.
To the loony bin. Right. Right.
There's a trend forming here.
Right. But we're the ones that need to be in the loony bin because we watched it in awe, like, oh, wow. Oh, they're going with this. All right, let's go.
But yeah, definitely another, like Aaron has said a couple of times in the show, just those things you don't address.
Right.
You know, and you don't mess
unless you're
with
helping.
it. You don't.
All right. I watched a promo between Eddie Guerrero and Brock Lesnar before Eddie beat Brock for the world title. And Brock gets in Eddie's face and tells him, "You're an addict. You're a drug addict. You're an alcoholic. You're this, you're that." Eddie grabs the mic and delivers the most heartfelt promo I've ever heard from a wrestler and says, "Yes, I am an addict. I've been down on my luck. I've been a drug addict. I've put it in my arm. I've snorted it up my nose. I've drank until I was falling down into the gutter. I lost my wife, my children. But then I found a different thing to be addicted to." And he mentioned the WWE fans and how they help him get over this, and he got his family back. That to me is helping. That's showing the good part of being an alcoholic or a drug addict.
And see, we haven't brought it up yet, and I'm not sure if Nate was going to get there with it, but I truly believe, Nate, are you back?
Yeah.
I truly believe that in '96, when Jake initially came back, I think Jake Roberts was sober when he first came back.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe so too.
And I think he believed the shit that he was saying.
Yeah.
And then when he got back out on the road, he got fucked up again.
Well, of course, it happens.
And I think the guy regrets. So, like, say you got a Jake the Snake Roberts in '96 sitting out on a lake saying, "Hey, guys, stop snorting shit up your nose
Right.
and this, and this." That's fine. But don't take somebody out. And at that time, Vince McMahon and the WWF was like, this guy started out this way and he got all fucked up. And if you notice, in '96, Jake starts out mid '96. You don't see Jake anymore.
Right. Or if you do, he's overweight again. He's not.
So we got to get rid of him.
Right.
So that might have been a little.
No, I agree. There's positive ways to deal with that if you want to, but if you're going to deal with it in the ugly way and making fun of it, then why even do it?
Exactly.
You know?
Speaking of making fun of something,
yes,
inappropriately, the next one on my list is fucking Oklahoma. It's not funny.
No.
Funny.
It's not cute.
It wasn't funny. It wasn't cute. It was
fucking malicious.
Yes.
It was downright malicious.
And you know, and in the time, in the Attitude Era or the Monday Night War era or whatever, many times people were poked fun at or little jabs were taken or Billionaire Ted or what have you. But I want to make a comparison. Okay. WCW did Oklahoma, which if they would have just done Ed Ferrara doing the Jim Ross catchphrases,
right?
You know, slobber knocker and blah 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 blah. It still would have been stupid. But it probably wouldn't have made my list.
Well, here's the thing, Nate. He actually did do a Jim Ross impression in WWF.
Yeah.
But not with the cerebral palsy face or with making fun of that he had a stroke, you know? So you want to do it that way, that's fine. He did it in WWF. Now he's going to do it in WCW. No problem. Let him spill barbecue sauce on people like he was doing. Let him say slobber knocker over and over again.
And again, even though it's stupid, it's still stupid.
Right.
It's still pointless.
But it's not
at least
offensive.
It's just a parody.
Right.
With the Oklahoma gimmick, you know, they went all in They went all in with some fucking Bell's palsy and disrespect. And that's why I was going to say the Attitude Era. What I wanted to compare it to, contrast and compare here. What WCW did with Oklahoma was disrespectful, mean-spirited, unintelligent garbage.
I agree.
That's what I was going to say. Sorry.
No, I was just going to compare it to, at this time, this kind of stuff was normal, but to compare it, to contrast it in a way, yes, the WWF had Gilbert, but in no way did the Gilbert parody was like a Weird Al parody of a song.
Right. You took a skinny guy and made him out to be the big guy that they had, you know?
Yeah, you were addressing your competition. You were kind of taking a little, shitty poke at your competition, but you were in no way making fun of someone's handicap or disability.
In that same regard, Aaron mentioned the Kurt Hennig storyline, and something bad that came out of that as well. Kevin Nash redoing the whole Arn Anderson speech, which Arn didn't know that they were going to do that night. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't just make fun of Arn Anderson as being Arn Anderson. He makes fun of him for having an arm that doesn't work anymore.
Right.
He makes fun of him for being an alcoholic because Arn drank beer. So what if Arn drank beer? Everybody drinks beer. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So if you wanted to make fun of Arn Anderson and the Four Horsemen, fine. But you decided to make fun of a heartfelt speech that this man gave that he could no longer wrestle. So that was par for the course for WCW. It wasn't just make fun of the person as who they are. It's let's make fun of everything wrong with them too, or everything that we deem wrong with them.
Exactly.
You know.
But yeah, Oklahoma, just a mean-spirited bully.
Yeah. By an asshole. Ed Ferrara and Vince Russo were assholes in the wrestling business that got lucky with a couple of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I hear Jim Cornette always say this, Nate, and I'm sorry for cutting you off or anything like that.
But no, not at all.
Jim Cornette says Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara, when they came up with these ideas, they had Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and Triple H and The Undertaker to bounce them off of, and Vince McMahon's filter. When they got to WCW and they didn't have that talent anymore, they didn't know what to do. So it was just let's put Judy Bagwell on a pole. Let's put Viagra on a pole. Let's put Chavo Guerrero with a mop and with a wooden pony.
Mm-hmm.
It was shit.
Hot fucking garbage.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma just
fuck you, Oklahoma.
Aaron, you haven't got to chime in on this one yet.
This is my other thing. Like,
this wasn't on anybody else's list.
No.
Oh wow.
I forgot it existed.
And part of it might be it wasn't on my list because it was something that was so classless and tasteless,
right?
That I don't even want to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. But it's attacking somebody that would not. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say like physically couldn't defend themselves, but does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But honestly, I think Jim Ross could have beat the crap out of Ed Ferrara if he would have been face to face with him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I think Jim Ross also probably
see. Like, let me say this. Like, I heard Archie bring it up that Ed Ferrara did the Jim Ross impersonation in the WWF.
Right.
It was filmed. He did it.
But Jim Ross was there.
Jim Ross was there, and all he did was make fun of his voice.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Came out in a black outfit and a cowboy hat. Right.
He didn't make fun of his ailments.
Nope.
Because Jim Ross would have been there to fucking defend himself.
Yeah.
Right.
He waited till he got to another company.
Right.
And had states between them.
Right.
To make fun of that guy's fucking ailments. That's bullshit.
Right.
I make fun of people. You know what I mean? Like, I joke around with people. I make lots of jokes and stuff. I would never, ever, like, make fun of somebody's ailments.
No.
Right.
It was bullshit. And the fact that this guy had a wife, he had kids, and now they're gonna have to see it. It's bullshit.
Right. And he knew he was doing it too. That's the whole thing of it.
Yep.
He knew he was going after him maliciously. He knew it wasn't for ratings. He knew it wasn't for a laugh. Because who was going to laugh at that? You know what I mean? Even the crowd was booing and throwing shit in the ring when he was doing it.
Yeah, it was all fucking pathetic.
In typical Ferrara Russo fashion, he booked himself to a title while he was doing it. He became cruiserweight champion for a month.
Mm-hmm. So, and his little fat pervy ass got to roll around with Medusa for the title too.
In barbecue sauce.
What a stupid fucking era that was.
New York rules, bro.
Bro. Aaron, you're next, man.
Oh, hold on. You go next.
All right. I'll do my last one then. Actually, I'll let Archie do one.
It's up to you guys. I'll
go ahead. I have one left, and I want to save it.
My last one, because like I said, I had Katie Vick as number one. It's a more current storyline that, thank God, just ended last month, but it's still going on somewhat. Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins, a.k.a. the debuts of Aliyah and Dominic Mysterio. The eye for an eye match was terrible. The whole Rey still having a patch on his eye is bad. It's I mean, he's still they put his eye back in his head, but yet he's still wearing something over his eye.
One of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But, and God damn it.
his daughter doesn't know how to act. His son, you guys could be mad at me if you want to. I've heard people get mad at me for saying Dominic Mysterio barely knows how to wrestle yet, and they're still pushing him to be this like idiot savant because his dad is Rey Mysterio.
I see, and I don't want to cut you off, Archie.
No, you're fine.
But I see tons of potential
down the road.
Yes, I see tons of potential in Dominic, but I agree with you. He needs another year working with Shawn Michaels and Triple H and Bill DeMott. And definitely.
You know, they put him in a tag team with Humberto Carrillo, and I was like, okay, good, let him be in a tag team with this guy, because you know what? Humberto actually knows how to wrestle, so maybe he could teach him something, and it's not a bad idea. But then they immediately, no, he's going to feud with Seth Rollins. And okay, great, he's going to feud with Seth Rollins. He never won a damn match, unless it was a tag team match. But then the thing that pissed me off even more was the night that Buddy Murphy fought Seth Rollins and Seth lost and then left WWE because Becky was having a baby, obviously.
Right.
Buddy Murphy, who is a former Cruiserweight champion and a two-time World Tag Team champion, comes to the ring, and SmackDown has those little screens that tell you the people's accolades.
Mm-hmm.
His only accolade was he is dating Aliyah Mysterio. And I'm thinking, really? For fuck's sake, that's the only thing he's got going for him in his career?
God. Was she hot?
No, and here's the crack up. She's 21 playing an 18-year-old. And Buddy Murphy's like 29. So it's even worse. It's pervy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, wait, Ray doesn't like it. Dominic doesn't like it. No, you can't date him. You can't date him. Hey, wait, he beat Seth Rollins. Oh, you can date my daughter.
Well, maybe at the next WrestleMania, Chris Hansen will be in their corner.
Hey, buddy, come here and sit down for a second. Can I talk to you for a second?
Hey, buddy, why you got those Zimas in your trunk?
Zimas. Back to the 90s again here on the We Can't Wrestle podcast.
Buddy Murphy is the most amazingest fall from grace in WWE. He went from former Cruiserweight champion, two-time World Tag Team champion, and fiance of Alexa Bliss to, we're putting you with Aliyah Mysterio, buddy.
And the worst part is he's fucking fantastic.
He is.
He is one of those guys, like, in modern wrestling, he's one of those guys that is like an old school guy.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron.
How many you got left? I have 3.
Damn.
Well, you guys took a couple off my list, so that's why
I have 1 left.
Well, am I going next?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hopefully I don't fuck the whole show up. the next angle on my list is the entire WCW feud between Vampiro and Sting.
Oof.
Bad.
Rough. It's rough.
Bad.
It's fucking garbage. For
Bad.
one, there was that weird time in WCW where Russo got sent home and Kevin Sullivan was booking it, and everybody was like talking about how Sting was Vampiro was the next star. You know, like Hogan was even putting over Vampiro.
Right.
Okay. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yep.
And Sting and Vampiro were like friends. And then Russo shows back up, and all of a sudden they're feuding with each other.
Yep.
And now they're having like graveyard matches and all this shit. Fucking Dale Torborg, who's a goddamn shit stain on the fucking underwear of professional wrestling, because he's not only terrible, but he's dressed as like the worst band ever. Sting, fucking Kiss. And they build up at this fucking Human Torch match, and Sting
Basically dies.
It gets set on fire.
Basically
Basically
dies.
And when they throw Sting off of the balcony as he's on fire, it's obviously not Sting. And they make Scott Hudson go, I think he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to the commentary booth and Mark Madden and Tony are trying to talk, and fucking Scott Hudson's like, Steve Borden's a friend of mine, and we just watched his murder. Like this whole fucking thing, the Sting Vampiro or Vampire, it's fucking trash.
It's awful.
The only thing I could say that was worse is when they put him with ICP and the Great Muta. But I agree, it's bad. Sting being set on fire. Yeah.
I think Nate's laughing because of the ridiculousness of the sentence of they put him with the ICP and Great Muta.
Right.
It's like Vampiro and the ICP and the Great Muta.
The Dark Carnival, ladies and gentlemen.
Muta was like Hugo Savinovich in that situation. He's like, you got to get me out of here, man. But yeah, the Sting Vampiro angle is just,
the bloodbath was so bad. I mean, they literally drenched Sting in blood and hung him from the ceiling one night, and just let him dangle with red ooze coming off of him, and it's.
Bro, this is what people want to see, bro.
yeah, it's terrible stuff. If you want to watch bad, just terrible, hokey, bad storytelling angles, and everything they do looks like shit, watch the Sting Vampiro feud.
I agree.
For sure.
Complete garbage. Am I
Archie,
doing my next?
Archie, do you have more? Or are you
No,
done?
I'm out.
Archie's
done.
out. Aaron, go ahead.
Okay, I have two left.
I have one left.
One is a WCW again, and the other one's a WWF again. So
Do the WWF.
the WWF one is the WWE feud between Ric Flair and Mick Foley.
Oh God.
It's terrible.
Everybody knows you hate peanut butter sandwiches.
Yeah, everybody knows you hate peanut butter sandwiches. These guys are having a feud that's
Over a book.
that's supposed to be a cave, like that's supposed to be based in wrestling. That's supposed to be a shoot, but it's kayfabe, but it's based on things that Ric Flair and Mick Foley said in their books that are supposed to be shoots. Like this fucking feud is all over the goddamn place.
Can I tell? Oh, this actually works. God damn it. This works because the last one on my list, and I'm not trying to scoop your heat, but this will be a whole conversation, is my what I wrote down was worked, shoot angles. The one that I came up with was Goldberg going off the script.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because when they did that in WCW, what you're doing is you're trying to tell me, and to what Aaron was saying about this being about the autobiographies or whatever, you're conflating.
Everything you just saw is fake, or everything you just saw is real, but this thing's fake.
Exactly. Right. He went off the script. Everything else you saw earlier tonight was real guys having a real match for real championships. But this part, go ahead. Aaron.
It's fake. And that's what they did with this Foley Flair feud. Like, Foley is trying to say that he's going to really beat up Ric Flair, but he's mad because Ric Flair never let him win in WCW.
Oh, and let's not forget the best thing that was said during the whole feud. Ric Flair said all Mick Foley ever did was bleed and jump off of things.
Yeah.
Every Ric Flair promo, though, before that, bleeding. So, pot, meat, kettle, you're black.
So yeah, it's two of my favorite people, and Ric Flair's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. He's like probably like my A1 or A2, but he's been on like 4 of my fucking angles. I just realized that. But this angle was just terrible.
It was. And it's like I said, it's going back to I really like how it all came together there. That work shoot thing on your show is a bad idea.
Right.
I mean, you can do it where you can be like the promoter of this company didn't want me to be successful, so he buried me in the mid card. You know, you could do it that way, but you can't you can't write a fucking
in Mid-South.
You can't write a fucking 700 fucking page book of saying this guy fucked me over and wouldn't put me over and just kept writing that I would lose all the time. This thing was bad. It's bad.
Oh yeah, it was awful.
How dare you not put me over? Now let's fight.
Yeah. You guys think he's gonna put me over? Fucking bad.
But so yeah, Mick, we went into the meeting and we decided, you're losing against Ric Flair. Fuck! I thought maybe you'd let me win. I thought maybe you'd let me win this time.
But yeah, like I said, that tied into, and it kind of knocked it off my list. But the last one I had on there was just the work shoot angle, and I used the Goldberg thing just as an example because we were doing a top 10. But you know, I'm watching this entire pay-per-view, which frankly it was the Great American Bash 2000, so it was hot garbage anyway. But I'm watching this whole pay-per-view, and you're wanting me to suspend disbelief,
right?
That these guys are having real wrestling matches, and then at the end, Goldberg didn't follow the script. Immediately, you have
Yeah.
you have shit on every bit of credibility this entire thing has ever had.
Yeah. Like, okay, I'll put it this way. Like, you brought up the Goldberg thing, and that's right. And I brought up the Foley Ric Flair thing, and that's right because I said it. So obviously it's if you want to look at like how a work shoot thing should go, which you shouldn't do them very much to begin with. There's like two of them, and I'll bring up one of them. Brett, when he pushed down Vince,
Yeah.
Mhm. Right.
that is super believable because he's like, you are trying to tell these people that I'm not the best goddamn person in that locker room, and I am the best goddamn person in that locker. You know what I mean? Like he
got screwed over in a realistic aspect of said match.
And he didn't push Vince down and go, you booked me to lose all these fucking match. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like even though it was like a broader, even more long-term thing, Steve and Vince.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was never written that it was written.
Yeah.
Right.
It was never written that Vince McMahon wrote me out of being the champion. It was written that Vince McMahon, the promoter, moved he orchestrated his puppet strings to get people to do what he wanted them to do to screw me out of the championship. Yeah. That's why it was so effective that it was The Undertaker. Because Vince McMahon, with his power, has convinced this guy who really shouldn't have to be able to beckon to anybody to come down here, and this isn't how it went down, but I'm just putting it in perspective, to come down here and punch me in the face. Not Vince McMahon wrote it that The Undertaker was going to come down and punch me in the face. It is so, there are thin lines you don't cross. And when Tony Schiavone, I know I'm going back to mine and not yours, Aaron, but when Tony Schiavone said Goldberg has deviated from the script. The word script in wrestling should never be uttered on fucking television. Ever.
And in defense to Tony Schiavone,
no. I wasn't hating on Tony.
He was reading the script as he was talking about.
Talking about the script. It's stupid. The whole point of professional wrestling is that there's not a script.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, but we're definitely on the same page here. And I think Aaron has one left.
I have one left.
I have none left.
And I'm done.
Okay, well, we're going to end this on the feud or the angle that ended WCW for me. And Nate, Archie will be able to tell you this, that when we were kids, I was more of a WCW guy, NWA guy.
Okay.
And Nate was more WWF. Like, I would love to, sit down in, 1991 and be like, okay, I'm going to watch me some WCW. I dug it. And I know that WCW did good shit in from 96 to 98. But to me, that's not WCW. To me, WCW is Ric Flair, Lex Luger, Barry Windham, the Steiner Brothers, Doom. To me, that's WCW.
I agree.
Okay. This is when WCW died. And it is when the mask came off and we all found out it was the Butcher. And Brutus Beefcake butchered his friendship with Hulk Hogan.
You know, the bad part
Worst
about that feud,
goddamn angle ever. And it led to the worst goddamn main event in the history of main events. The fact that Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake main evented a Starrcade makes me want to throw up in my fucking mouth. It makes me want to feel like I ate every goddamn item on a Sonic Burger menu.
the bad part about that feud is, and we'll
It's
go
the
back.
only wrestling match that ever gave me bubble gut. Like every time I watch it, I get bubble gut.
It's pastrami on Texas toast.
With melted with Limburger. Like it's fucking
Right.
terrible.
I'm gonna say what I need to say, and then I'm done. There's a part in that feud before the mask came off, like with the Black Scorpion, where it's not Brutus Beefcake. You could clearly tell it's Arn Anderson under that mask and in the black outfit. And then it ends up being Brutus Beefcake. I have a feeling that Brutus was not always the go-to person, but whatever. The thing that I find it's me, Al Perez.
What do that good?
It's me, Al Perez Hogan. I'm coming for you, and I'm not losing again. The thing that makes this feud even more pointless, and the way that it all went, was when Brutus went from being the Butcher to the Zodiac to the Booty Man, and he was the infiltrator of the Dungeon of Doom. So wait, before the Dungeon of Doom was made, Brutus Beefcake went undercover and formed the Dungeon of Doom to take it down from the inside.
Not only that, but he wound up with the worst, most pointless wrestling name ever.
The Booty Man.
No,
The man with no name.
no, the man with no
name.
name,
Oh, yeah.
which is a name.
And also, if I was in wrestling and somebody was like, Ed Leslie brought down the entire infrastructure of your organization, I would look at Kevin Sullivan and be like, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Right. Well, who told you putting over Brutus Beefcake was the right thing to do?
No, I would be like, this fucking dolt is the person that ended your fucking operation. His boots aren't even on the right feet.
Oh, man. Oh, my God.
This was the fucking end of WCW for me. As a kid, I can honest to God tell you guys, this was the end of WCW for me. This is when I was like, you know what?
WWF ain't so
Like
bad.
12-year-old me was like, this is fucking trash. Because
they got you back with the NWO.
they got me back with it, but that still to me wasn't WCW.
Right.
Is what I was trying to tell you. Like, it wasn't the same after this. It was just this fucking Butcher Hulk Hogan angle is the worst trash that has ever been presented to anybody ever. Is saying, hey, here's wrestling. Like, no, this is fucking garbage. Like, it's fucking trash. This match is worse than Hulk Hogan Warrior at the Halloween Havoc. It's worse than that.
I'd like to liken it to
a dumpster fire.
No. All right. There were a couple of times when WCW totally pulled the wool over my eyes and made me get hyped up for something that it ended up not being what it should have been. This being one of them, when they unmasked Brutus as the masked assailant for Hulk Hogan, I was like, why? Why? The Black Scorpion a few years earlier. Again, why was it Ric Flair? Should have been somebody else. They said it was somebody that Sting had never faced before. He faced Flair 100 times. And one other one. I don't know if you guys remember this, but WCW, I think it was either the Sin pay-per-view or the Greed pay-per-view. It was the pay-per-view that Sid broke his leg on.
Yeah, it was Road Warrior Animal.
Yeah. For weeks, Ric Flair's going to release a Maniac to take out Scott Steiner. And then it's Road Warrior Animal, who ends up joining Scott Steiner. And it's like, wait, what?
Still better than the fucking Butcher.
Well, my point is, it's like you get a person's hopes up, and then it's like, really? This is... Okay, let's turn on WWF and see what they're doing.
Goldust should have sold the rights. Goldust should have sold the rights to Shattered Dreams Productions to WCW.
Like when they took that mask off and they were like, "It's the Butcher." It's like, I would have rather it been the baker or the candlestick maker. This is fucking terrible.
Let's reflect on that. Like, what if it would have been Paul Orndorff? Could that have been cool?
Yes.
Yeah. Anybody
it could have been,
but Brutus Beefcake.
It could have been
fucking Dink.
It could have been. Hold on. Think of where we were.
Butcher.
Yeah. Could have been Dink. Could have been Pank. Stank.
Cheesy, Queasy.
Queasy. Wheezy.
Now,
Patrick Swayze.
Hey,
Nate.
Aaron. Kevin Sullivan could have been like Hulk Hogan, and nobody told you it couldn't have been Queasy.
Now, Nate,
this thing is fucking garbage, man.
Nate,
like every other angle everybody's talked about, other than the like the domestic violence one and the making fun of retarded people, I could swing and figure out a way to make it great. This one, no, it's terrible.
Now we're saying who it could have been. Nate, think of where we were in this storyline, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could have been even a returning David Sullivan, who was mentally challenged at the time when he left WCW, coming back because he felt Hulk Hogan took him from his brother.
Dave Sullivan. Dave Sullivan
turned.
would have been better than Beefcake.
Right. That's why Kevin Sullivan went off on Hulk Hogan. You took my brother from me. So now
Dave Sullivan could have been like, look, man, I left. I got some Encyclopedia Britannica.
Right.
I bought them encyclopedias and I got learned.
And
I
Hulk
know
Hogan, you suck.
And you've been fucking with me. You owe me some royalties from that song I sung. I'm going to beat you now.
Right. Would have been better than Brutus Beefcake.
The fucking Butcher. Guys, listen to what I'm saying. In 1995, Hulk Hogan and Ed Leslie
94,
Hulk Hogan and Ed Leslie main evented Starrcade.
Yep.
That would have been like in 1991, Hulk Hogan main eventing WrestleMania against Brutus Beefcake.
Yeah.
Right.
In the Sky Dome. There would have been like 12 people there.
The Warrior is injured. Who are we going to replace him with? Is Ed Leslie doing anything?
I bet Edge wouldn't have been at that one.
Jesus Christ.
Adam Copeland's dad walks in. I got you tickets to WrestleMania. Oh, no, you didn't.
Aaron.
What?
That brings up a question to close the show. Brutus Beefcake or the Ultimate Warrior?
Ultimate Warrior all day. Warrior all day.
Yep.
The Ultimate Warrior, at least,
he sucked.
Could cut a promo.
Kind of. He could take us on a ride.
He
In a
never
rocket
said
ship?
what do that could.
Blood pumping through the veins.
Better run you over with the lawnmower.
Oh my god. Oh my god. What do that
Hulk. Hogan.
Like Ed Leslie,
I'm gonna get him on the show.
I will not be.
That'll be
I
the
will-
first show. That'll be the first show where I tell you I'm not gonna be on it.
No,
guess
I want.
what?
I'm not even
And
gonna be
guess
on
what?
it. I just
I
want it
won't
to be
be on
Aaron
either.
and Beefcake.
I won't be on it either.
No, seriously, if I ever land Beefcake to be on the show, it's just gonna be him and Aaron. I'm not even gonna be on it.
You could cut this out if you want, but like
It
during the
would be
road work,
27. It would be 27 and a half minutes of me telling him why he should put himself in his fucking garage running car.
So, all right, you guys want to hear? Nate, you could delete this if you want.
I probably
I don't
won't.
care. So during the Road Warrior Animal meet and greet,
Mhm.
Missy Leslie, Brutus's wife, came in to watch the live stream, and in the comment section, David Gold and I caught it at the same time because we both texted each other at the exact moment it happened and then busted out laughing. She's in the comments saying, "How many of you people would like to see Brutus do a virtual meet and greet in the asylum? Who wants to see Brutus do this?" And nobody's saying anything in the comments. The comments are dead. Nobody's even saying, "Hey, animal, what's going on?" Or anything. It went dead silent. And then, so me and Gold both texted him, like, she's really trying to get us to do a meet and greet with him. Gold's like, "Fuck that bitch. She got mad when I donated 50 to Brutus and said, why didn't I do more?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I remember that. You bought
Because your husband's a piece of shit.
Right. So now, the show ends with Animal. Gold's talking to Animal and finishing out with him or whatever, and he gets a DM from Missy Leslie. "Hi, I don't know if you know who I am. I'm Missy Leslie, and Brutus would love to do a virtual meet and greet with you guys, and whenever you're ready to hook him up and put him on the schedule." David's like, "Yeah, I know exactly who you are. I'm the guy who donated $50 to your husband about a year and a half ago when he needed a
Which
leg
wasn't
surgery.
enough.
And you told me that wasn't enough and I should be ashamed of myself." And like 30 seconds later, she blocked him. And that was the end of it.
What fucking?
And I'm like, okay, so she realized that she put her foot in her mouth and can't get him a meet and greet with us. So, and then I just heard that he was on High Spots last week doing one with Greg Valentine, and like 20 people watched. So,
you know what? I'd totally go in on Valentine.
yeah,
But
that's why everybody was
if he
there.
brings Beefcake on, I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Greg Valentine's one of the greatest wrestlers ever.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
I'm just saying, don't ever put me on anything.
I don't think we're getting Beefcake on here anyway, so don't worry about it. All right, Aaron.
Fucking trash bag wrestler.
Any parting words for our listeners this
Yes,
week?
trash bag wrestler.
He's like, if you would take like, I'm trying to think like, what's like the worst food?
Gefilte fish.
Yeah, you would take some gefilte fish
And kale.
and kale,
Put them in a blender.
put them in a trash bag,
And then throw it in a
and
blender.
then put them in a microwave. So you take some gefilte fish and some kale, put it in a trash bag. Not even like a good trash bag, like an Aldi's trash bag. Like it doesn't even have like the thing where you don't have to touch the bag. You just pull the fucking thing and tie it. You actually got to like grab the 4 little plastic like things and tie it by hand. So now you have the gefilte fish.
God, what a pain in the
kale.
ass.
Yeah, it's like you're already a pain in the ass. And it's like you want to strangle it. And then you throw it in the fucking microwave and nuke it for like 37 minutes. And then throw it in the yard and forget about it for like a week.
Then it rained.
and it rained, and then you go back out and you grab it, and now you're gonna throw it in the can. That's Ed Leslie.
The Cavelta fish was left out in the rain. All right. and,
Oh.
And then you pee on it.
I have nothing to add after that.
there are Aaron's parting words. My parting words to everybody are,
Also,
oh God. But wait, there's more.
Merry Christmas.
Oh yes, Merry Christmas.
Merry
Happy
Christmas,
Hanukkah.
everybody.
This is our holiday episode, guys.
Yes, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate.
Wait a second. We used our Christmas episode to talk about Ed Leslie.
We did.
Jesus Christ!
What a gift. Jesus Christ. Hey-o. It's your birthday. Go, Jesus. It's your birthday. All right. That being said, thank you for joining us on the We Can't Wrestle podcast this week. And in the past few weeks, I have allowed Aaron and Kyle to send us out. This week, I'm going to let Archie have the honors.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for once again joining us here on the We Can't Wrestle podcast. We want to thank you for your support. We want to thank you for joining us on Facebook and on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast needs. And if you are not a member of the Facebook group, tell them, Aaron.
Why the fuck not?
Thank you for joining us, and we will be back next week.
And as I say every week on the Motley Soup podcast, hey, another placement. Aaron's
And
got
also, Ed Leslie, if you're listening, I meant everything I said.
It's a shoot, bro. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the We Can't Wrestle podcast, and we will see ya.